So, sorry, my back is like. Ugh. Um, so I'm feeling a little weird this morning. Last night, while I was praying, I felt more connected than I have in a long time, and it's not from the heart. It was actually from just the sense of being part of the universe, in the sense of, in a much more immediate sense than like big. Um, but I was in my body. I think that's really what it was. I was in my body in a different way, more aware of the moment, and that's how I want to start living permanently. But I was sort of getting these flashes of what it would be like to be in that space, and it scared me. I would feel myself open, and then I would feel myself close right away. So I think it's just a matter of letting that muscle relax. I very much want to do that though, because I was thinking more and more. I want to get into particle, like like subatomic. What are they? Quantum. That's what I like, the quantum level, right? I want to like subatomic particles, um, and such. Getting down to the nitty gritty, where it turns out that these particles are actually energy. So really, all matter is made of energy organized in a very specific way. And these organizations have grown throughout the universe, which is just amazing. One is building on top of another, which is building on top of another. I get very excited about it when I think about it. And it's just crazy, like how godlike God is. More the waves than a part. I'm gonna. If you come on, Robin, I'm gonna try and get you on. Boop. Um, but I have a way. Okay, yeah. I this is the thing that I need to work on and know more about. I want to go and study about this stuff. Um, but I felt very in my body, and the universe seemed much more immediate than, that kind of old idea that I guess I still have in a way of God being like a part. Hi,
Hi.
how's it going?
Good. You're catching me. I haven't even gotten dressed yet, so
Me neither. How's it going?
great. How are you?
I'm doing all right, thank you. I am trying to get these words out of my. There we go. That's your beautiful face. Um, so yeah, I was just talking about. I mean, you obviously saw talking about sort of the different ways in which energy organize themselves to create matter, and how that's what we are, which is really just a variation on the field of energy that was released on the Big Bang,
Yeah, that's a big old.
right?
That's yes, yes, yes. So, um, the kind of Cliff Notes version of that is that particles are in the past and waves are current, and
Oh,
so if we're more particle than wave, then we're more mass than light, which means we're not in that flow state because God is the
okay.
wave all the time. Um, and our job is to clear out all of the BS and do the healing work so that we can be more in the flow state, more in that light state than particle, which is past and essentially dead. We just are
Oh,
recreating it all over
poor
again.
particles.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're not dead. There's like at the subatomic level, you need particles and waves. It's like the consciousness is the light that sort of sparks creation, and then the particle creates it. But once it's created, now it's done. It's not that spark of creation anymore, right? So it's like you need both. And if we're headed towards consciousness, we're headed towards more light than particle.
That is really cool. It's really cool. Like it's just mind blowing, right?
Yes.
It's just like that's how God works.
That is. It's
Pretty
and it's
crazy.
crazy. What's crazy is there's this thing in quantum physics that the observer bias. So like the way we look at things changes the way things are, even if it's a particle that's already like decided to be a particle. It's like when we look at it, it can change. So it's like we can change. We can actually at the quantum level, this is how I know healing works, is we can change things in the past because of the way we look at them in the present. That's actually how quantum physics works. Scientists do this all the time. In fact, I just read an article about this yesterday. I forget where I read it, but it's like actually changing the past. That's why healing works.
I heard, what was I listening to? Um, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. He told a story where they did this study where they put people in a room and they gave them names and they said, these people have this disease that, please pray for them. And then there was another set of names that didn't get prayed for. And when they looked back, the people who were prayed for were like got noticeably better than the other people.
Yes,
It's like,
yes, exactly. Exactly, because there's a collective consciousness focusing on a particular outcome. And when we focus on a particular outcome, it opens up solutions to problems. But if we're focusing on the problem, then we don't have the ability. We're not in the energy of solutions
and that is why when we're focused on the problem, we feel so horrible.
and stuck and lost and separate from God and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes. So this might be a silly question, but does that time travel? I mean,
Yes, it is essentially time travel. And that's the point, is like we are actually capable of time travel because
that's
time is a
crazy.
construct. Time is irrelevant. Time doesn't actually mean anything. At the quantum level, there's no time, there's no space, there's no distance. That's why things can be both a particle and a wave, because they're both matter and non-matter all at the same time. But the vast majority of the universe is made up of dark matter. It's actually not anything that's existence or that we can't quantify because it's not in existence yet. So the whole giant part of it, like 1% is particles. And the vast majority of the universe is not particles, right? So it's like,
There's
it
space
is time
between
to,
particles. Wow, that's
exactly.
just crazy.
Like at the
That's some
quantum
crazy
level, like
shit.
it is crazy, right? So like at the quantum level, you have an atom that has a nucleus in it. And then billions of miles away is an electron that just it's a blip in consciousness, right? It's a tiny atom. It's obviously like microscopic. You can't see it, but that's how the universe works. It's what happens at the small microcosm happens on the vast spans of time, and the space in between is how we create. How is what God is the consciousness is that place.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy because I've always sort of thought of the solar system as like this could just be a cell
Exactly,
in
exactly,
one
exactly.
other creature.
Like,
Every galaxy, every solar system could be a cell, and then like what a
and
galaxy is like a compound. I don't know.
right, exactly, exactly, exactly. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning. I was talking to Patty, and she was talking about she watched something on Gaia yesterday that Greg Braden was talking about um the four elements that make up matter: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. And when you put them all together and you do this whatever numbers versus letters thing, it comes out to the four letters that spell out God: Yod, Hey, some Bod, Hey, some whatever. The actual four letters of the word of God, right? And so it's basically our DNA, our elements, our essence. Exactly what you're talking about is God. It was mind blowing. I haven't studied. I haven't gone
Wait,
there yet,
what?
but it was. Yeah.
That's That's gonna take a little bit of thought.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a concept that I just was like, holy crap.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness. Yeah. So yeah, I was like kind of having this experience last night where like I was more present, I guess, in my body.
yeah.
And I kind of just saw things from a different angle, which is like we are like a field of matter, just organized in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
field of
Mm-hmm.
energy or whatever it is that like
Yep.
came out. I just can't. It's like so the Big Bang, huh? That was pretty cool.
Well, I often have thought of the Big Bang as like uh, like birth, like when you have when there's a birth, there's an explosion that happens, right? Or like an orgasm, it's like an explosion of energy, and I just assumed that was what the Big Bang was. That's why I probably sort of thought of we need both, but I always think of God as a woman, really, because it's the birth of life, but you can't.
Right.
You need the masculine and the feminine energy. So, but I think the Big Bang is that. I think it was just the big birth or
Well, it's like
orgasmic
in the
experience.
womb, the guy needs like androgen to become a guy.
Right? Yes.
Otherwise, we're all women.
Right. Right. Well, yeah.
So, just
But we
saying, that
need
might have
both. We
played out
need both.
on a
We
much
need
more
both.
cosmic level.
Exactly. Exactly. We need the masculine and the feminine. Right. The life giving and the life taking. But yeah.
Very interesting. It's like, yeah, the Big Bang is like an orgasm. Okay. All right.
Well,
We'll just put that
yeah.
one in there.
Uh,
All right. Yeah. No, it's just, yeah. I mean, obviously, the question, the eternal question is always like, where did that come from? Why is that happening? Obviously, no way to know the answer, but I think the point I was coming to.
sorry, I didn't mean to
No, no,
derail
no,
you.
no. It's not. I couldn't remember, and I was much more interested in this. Um, yeah. So I had this sense of discontent. Let's call it. Um, well, I don't know. I would call it more disturbed than discontent. Just like things are stirred up. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling great, and but it was general. It wasn't attached to one thing. I mean, sure, like a million things go through my head, and as they do to everybody. You know what I mean? And too much of it is the hologram thing and my living situation and like the work I have to do and like all this stuff, which is certainly all there in the back of my mind, but I wasn't specifically thinking about any of it. It was just this sense of general anxiety, I think. I was like, oh, that's familiar. Generalized anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Um, but I was listening to Michael Singer as I do, and he was talking about how emotions and stuff are energy, the shakti, the spiritual flow coming up, hitting our blockages, right? Which we
Mm-hmm.
we put there because we focus too much on a particular thing.
We focus on the particle,
um,
not the wave.
yeah, yeah, and so once we're allowed to, once we because we're the ones in charge of it. Once we allow ourselves to release a blockage, things flow
Right.
differently. And
Yep.
I was remembering the experience we had together where the healing and how like for days later I was like I was pissy. I was pissy.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I remember well.
And I was just like, is that sort of the same thing? Like maybe I got a little bit more in touch with, what it was? Like I was sitting there and every once in a while, it was like a brief boom, was that sense of that piece of myself that's not hurt.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I like that, but it's scary.
All right.
I
What's
like it, but it's scary. It's
well, because
scary.
it's the joy and terror of realizing the oneness of the soul. There's joy in it. There's bliss, but there's also terror because there's a I don't know, our small human minds can't process it.
Right. That makes sense. That makes sense. So bizarre. But at the same time, why is it bizarre? It's the way things are. So, like, really, what's bizarre is like my mind before I found out what things are.
Right, right,
That's the
exactly.
bizarre part.
But there's a our brains are hardwired, like our brains are hardwired to keep us safe, right? So there's a fear. It's that fear of ego dying in order to be reborn again. But like the ego is clinging to life because it's terrified that if it dies, then that's really the end of existence. So there really is that fear that if you become one, you won't exist anymore. And that ego is like, but I needed to keep us safe, right? So that ego is really doing anything it can to keep you in that space because it doesn't want to die.
It's interesting. Give me a second.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, yeah. Like you don't want to merge with the universe because then we lose our individuality in ourselves.
There's yeah, the ego. That's a fear. Yeah,
Oh, ego. You mess me up all the time. My
yeah.
ego.
Most of us do. But that's the one that makes the vows. That's the one that sets the energy off. That's the one that blocks things, right? It's that part of us that's just so afraid that that
Yeah. Yeah. So I was wondering if that maybe shifted some things inside, and that's why I'm feeling kind of sad this morning. Michael Singer was talking about releasing blockages, and I just like kind of started crying, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying. But you know me, I cry a lot anyway. Like it's a thing.
oh
So it's
yeah.
not surprising that I just burst into tears randomly.
It's actually more surprising when you don't.
It's just kind of my thing.
But that's a release, right? Like that birth that tears is always a release. Like I usually, I mean, I love it when my clients cry because now we've gotten somewhere.
Now you got sorry, you're
Now
low.
I'm sorry. Now we've gotten somewhere.
Yeah. Yes. 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 And that's just what I want to do and what I want to help other people do. And I know that's what you want to help other people do, is just release that shit
Mm-hmm.
because it's not good.
Because it's all particles. Because it's all particles. It's not the wave.
It's so crazy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so then we have this energy. You're like, come on, Jen. But we've got this energy. It's just interesting to think about how the energy of our spirit flows, and that we have mind energy and heart energy, and that well, I mean the chakra thing, right? That we've been learning about, but it's just interesting that that's energy, and therefore kind of what makes us up because we are just organized energy.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
And but it's still there. It's but we can't touch it or feel it.
No, but we can quantify it. Science can actually measure it. They can measure like your heart energy and they can measure your science actually can quantify it. Oh yeah. That like there's an organization, what is it, Heart Math? Heart Math, I think, that actually does like studies in science and actually measure the resonance of your heart energy. It's super cool. I think it's Heart Math. I'd have to
Oh,
look it up.
I
But
have to
like
go look that up.
yeah, it's super, super, super cool, actually. It's
Awesome.
really neat stuff. So they can actually quantify it, they can measure it, they can actually like yeah. Like science, the cutting edges of science, not the like stodgy we have to do things the same way science, but like the
Yeah,
cutting edges of science, they're they are doing like the healing God's work. Like it's pretty fascinating what they can do.
that's amazing. I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to take a look.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take a look. Thank you for joining. I'll let you go. I appreciate it, and I just appreciate everybody else out there. And as always, I am this my smooth transitions. Remember those?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just want to remind people out there that you can always choose to have a grateful day.